And there we are. How about that? Hey, Fish, we are live, and oh my God, we got so much to talk about. Hey, have you ever tugged on your juju before? Because that's what caused the not so dramatic ending to the end of the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know James Bradbury, the Eagles defensive back. He admitted that he tugged on the jersey of Juju Smith-Schuster, and to me, I actually thought it was a good call. I wish it didn't happen because it would have been a more dramatic ending to the game. But at the same time, too, I think it was one of the best Super Bowls. You know, I'm not gonna say it was the best, but could have been in the top 10 there. That's for sure. What do you think?
Obviously, absolutely. Obviously, in a losing effort, Jalen Hurts had if they would have won that game, that would have been the best performance in the history of the Super Bowls by a quarterback. But Philadelphia and Kansas City both played their A game. You called it in one of our shows. I don't know if it was Hardline the week before. If it comes down to coaching, John Daly said that Andy Reid has a significant advantage over Nick Sirianni, and it just showed. They're down 24-14 at the half. Kansas City didn't punt in the second half. And the bottom line was this, and I'll let you go. The Philadelphia Eagles led the league in had the most sacks since the 1985 Bears. Not one sack on Mahomes. End of story. That's the game.
I agree. That offensive line gave him more than enough time. I do think Andy Reid's switching in the second half of how he switched the offense. I mean, primarily it was just quick dumps to running backs, wide receivers that were off on the side there. And then all of a sudden the secondary opened up. So I thought it was a good game. I do feel bad for Hurts because I thought he played a great game. Yeah, he made that one fumble that certainly it was a lot of the difference. But at the same time, too, what I loved about Hurts is Hurts took responsibility for it. I mean, that's a class act. And then on top of it, Patrick Mahomes, even though he was MVP of the game, he says, I don't want me winning, and me winning the MVP lost on what a great performance Jalen Hurts had. So I thought it was a class game. I thought everything was fun to watch. You and I were texting back and forth, and so I was really pleased with the game.
Hardlines was so upset because he went all in on Philly. How can he be doing this? I love when he does that. It acts like whenever something goes wrong against one of his predictions, it's like personal against him. It's like they get in the huddle and go, "Let's fuck Hardline." You know. Another great stat too. They led the league in rushing touchdowns. Gainwell had 26 yards, John, and Miles Sanders had 21. Without Jalen Hurts, it's a blowout. Patrick Mahomes is something. You know, we've been around so long, you and I, and 50 years of watching football, probably 100 years between the two of us.
Yeah.
And you think every year there's a Tom Brady, and there's a Peyton Manning, there's a Joe Montana, Johnny Unitas. Keep going back, Otto Graham. This kid is so talented, and yeah, wow, that last 28-yard run, that scramble that he had to get him in that potential field goal range was just it's amazing. And it's just, you know, when you watch sports and the entertainment of it, it's for the great athletic plays, and that was one that'll stand out to me in that Super Bowl.
With another sprained ankle, or the same ankle being sprained, I thought it was great. That I loved and it goes back to the coaching when and I'm trying to remember who the running back was at the time. What was it, Pacheco? He could have gone in and scored, and he slid.
That was McKinnon. It was McKinnon.
McKinnon. Okay.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, man, that's just brilliant, and it just kept Hurts from being the hero. So yeah, great game, great game all around. I'll remember that. Might go back and take a look at it again.
Sure. Is it a top 10 Super Bowl? Maybe, I don't know. I mean, there's 57 Super Bowls. You called it from the beginning, and we could put a wrap on it, that if they don't call that call on Bradbury and they let it go, we have a chance for a classic ending, but it didn't. Kansas City's a better football team. They're better coached. And I will say this: when you get two number one seeds, that's the kind of outcome you want, a 38-35 shootout. And both those teams, I know it's a cliche. I wouldn't be shocked if we're talking about them next year at this time, doing a recap of the same two teams in the Super Bowl. 58.
Yep. And they were definitely the best two teams. And I'd put it in the top 10. Would I call it the best? I don't know. I think I might call the Patriots and the Seahawks, and that's me personally because I'm a Patriots fan. But was also in Phoenix, by the way. So, but no, great time, great Great way to close out, even though I would have preferred a more dramatic ending. All right, welcome to Daily Fish, folks. Coming to you from Las Vegas and Myrtle Beach. Today I'm coming from Boynton Beach, Florida, near West Palm Beach. I'm John Daly. He is Eric Fish Snyder. You got questions or comments, drop them in the chat box. Or if you're not watching us live, email us at dailyfish1, the number 1, at gmail.com. We should also say Hardline's not with us. And the reason why, because we're going to be having Hardline on Saturdays now. We're going to do his show there because Hardline's got a new gig. In fact, he's in Phoenix, and I think the Super Bowl picked him up. But anyway, we all said the Eagles, so we were all wrong as far as that goes. But still, we were right as far as it being a great game. Let's talk about some Super Bowl commercials. Did you have a couple that you enjoyed?
Yeah, I did. I think we're both on the same wavelength here. The Bradley Cooper one with his mother was great. They open up the whole thing with I just saw it again. I was watching a recap of it. Ben Affleck's the Dunkin' Donuts at drive-thru and J-Lo rolls out. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
How about the one, Don't Be a Rock Star, and it's Ozzy Osbourne, Paul Stanley, A Kiss, Billy Idol. The one that really stole it for me, besides, friend of the family, friend of us, friend of the show, Brian Kransky recreating Walter White, the popcorn with Tuco. How about that great ad? I can't think of her name, John, help me. The girl with the flag, and she's running, and even when she gets with her mother, the flag football girl.
Oh, my God. What a great commercial that was. They had Aaron Andrews in
that was the best one. And everyone, her mother, and that one was voted on by the press corps as the best commercial. I have to agree. A lot of great commercials.
I agree with it too. One of the interesting ones, and it made me go to do some research, was the Crown Royal commercial about how Americans need to thank Canada, including for baseball. And I'm going like, oh, come on, wait a minute. And I went back and looked. And in the 1740s, Canada actually had a game called bass, B-A-S-S, ball, that they played in the 1740s, and the history books have that. So I was kind of like, that's interesting. So the Canadians were a little bit more advanced than we were.
Well, I knew that James Naismith created basketball, Canadian. I knew football started in Canada, hockey.
Yep.
I mean, so our great neighbors to the north, great allies, have developed the 4 major sports in America. And look, they have 27 million people. We have 330 million. So we've moved on with these sports. But you know what? If you've ever been to a Canadian Football League game, they're great. Hockey is fantastic.
Yep.
But basketball is involved. And I mean, is there any great Canadian? Who was a great Canadian baseball player? Dane Orge. Remember, he's from Canada. Who else is from Canada that plays baseball?
What was it? McGriff?
Yeah.
Was McGriff from there? From the Braves?
Three Dog? I don't know. Good question. Right in Daily Fish.
Because I think a number of players played on the Canadian World Baseball League team. It'd be interesting to see who's coming up now, since the World Baseball League is coming up next month. We're going to be watching that. We'll be following that. I think we'll be watching it and following it, but that'll be in the midst of spring training. So, all right. Hey, Fish, I guess my question for you is, are you okay? Do you need some help? I mean, there's no more football, or is there?
No, I went to my first Super Bowl party in probably 22 years at my son's house. And of course, I'm not going to mention family members' names. My sister's asking questions, and I'm trying to watch a game. And my wife's saying to me, you cannot go upstairs and watch it in the other room, because Max had it on up there. And I stayed there the whole time. But the game was so compelling that everyone got immersed in the game. And then when it ended, I drove the 17 minutes home to my house, complete depression. My wife is trying. It was almost recreation in the scene in Parenthood with Mary Steenburgen and Steve Martin, except I didn't crash the car, but still I could not get aroused. I get that way. I get melancholy. I'm not like you. Football's my favorite sport. It's not yours. This is it for John Daly. Baseball and golf and the tournament are coming up. So when football ends, John gets a hard on. I lose it.
That's why we're good together. So, did you get drunk at all yesterday?
No. I had to drive. No, I had a few libations, had a lot of cooking. It's great. I mean, I'm interested to see the ratings because there was 15 people. That's what I'm going to ask you. I'm going to segue. No, I didn't get drunk. But when you have 15 people in the house, you have 140 people at Chuck's Tavern watching. How did they get an exact amount of people watching the game? It's never accurate or streaming it. So I think I will tell you this: the amount of cars on the street. We left right after the game to drive home. It looked like rush hour in any city. So people are leaving Super Bowl parties. Hopefully you got home safe. But I'm on a 12-step program, man. You know what I did last night? I couldn't fall asleep. I go on YouTube and I'm watching highlights of This Week in Pro Football from 1974 with Pat Summerall and Tom Brookshire. I remember that. And I
Wow.
have another drink.
I love it.
1978. I remember that. And you go back to all the histories, and you brought great Super Bowls top 10. They showed the one when Montana hits John Taylor in 1989 to beat the Bengals, top Super Bowl. So I couldn't watch the highlights of this one because I couldn't stand the Chiefs. I'm a Raider fan. So I went back and watched other stuff. I binge watched a little bit. Suffice to say, I didn't get much sleep last night. So, and now it's 206. John, I'll end on this. 206 days, 32 minutes, and 42 seconds until next. I'm serious. Until next season starts.
I love it. Hey, that leads to a question, and I haven't talked to you about this, and I'm in Boynton Beach because I'm doing some work for a financial publication called Banyan Hill, and the financial guru that I work with is a guy by the name of Ian King, who's a really good sports fan, and he brought this up, and he mentioned this to me, and I said, I've got to ask Fish this. He said Joe Biden would be president for a long time if he enacted a rule that said the Super Bowl had to be on Saturday night, 2 weeks after the playoffs, the same way, but it had to be on a Saturday night because Ian was saying there are so many people who were walking around today drunk. They had to go to work. They couldn't figure it out. And, when he said it, I all of a sudden went, it would still give them enough time to have the week off. A Saturday night would then allow Sunday for hangover day and to kind of deal with it. What do you think about that?
I think have it on Sunday and declare it a national holiday and take Monday off. That's it. Just it. If July 4th falls on a Sunday, people get Monday off. So just do it on Sunday because it's tradition. I like the way that guy at Banyan Hill is thinking, but it's I don't know. I'm kind of a loss. I'm never at a loss of words. I'm a loss of words because it was a great game. Would have made me more depressed if it was a blowout, but it was a great game to end the season. And we move on. The other sports talk about, you know me. In 3 days from now, I'll be looking at. I'll know all the rosters in the XFL.
Okay. Well, yeah, absolutely. And then the USFL. So I got something that could really cheer everybody up. Let's go to some Fish memes. What are you looking at this week, Fish?
Well, we just had the State of the Union address, so I went back and looked at some of the characters that are in the audience, and as far as Congress people. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, I think she's attractive. I'm the only idiot who thinks she doesn't. I think she's attractive, and she's booing and hissing. They're talking about Medicare and Social Security. So I went back and looked at some of her lineage. Check that out. Is that amazing? I mean, it's nuts. And I'm thinking, wow, she's more attractive than Tutankhamun, but that's pretty close. Check this out. All right. There's a new book, Making Marriage Work by Henry VIII. I won't behead you, but we'll get head. Check this out. Check out. This isn't a playground. What member of Mensa or Rhodes Scholar designed that, John? When someone in office never worked on the floor, designs a floor that it swings next to a brick. Nuts. Hey, get ready to laugh some more. So Mark Davis got in some maybe I don't know. It's sort of like a scandal with how he paid the WNBA players. So someone put a meme about Mark Davis. No foot rubs, finger blasters, and offering to take home and wash their panties at frowned upon now. Poor guy. All right. Check this out. In the political news, sorry, NFL fans, because the Super Bowl's in Arizona, the results of the game will not be known for 2 weeks.
I hadn't seen that. That's good.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
I like to go back and say who these people. John, tell this great audience that we have, because we have a lot of people that listen, about this great show that came on that really was groundbreaking before the Jeffersons and All in the Family. You remember that? Good Times? I lost it. Well, it was a show called Good Times with J.J. Walker.
I didn't watch a lot of it, but I remember seeing it, and I remember thinking it was kind of groundbreaking at the time. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's about a struggling African-American family. John Amos in the middle. He's a grunt of a construction worker, and his son with the hat, Jimmy Walker's still around, and he used to go dynamite. But it really showed, and there's Flo, who was a maid. It showed just how hard it was for African Americans to get going in the 60s and 70s. But their family was strong, and they had a strong family unit, and they made it. It was a great show. A lot of comedy too. All right. John, who is this? Take a wild guess who that is.
Gosh, he looks so familiar. I can't tell.
That is Jake Plummer. Remember Jake the Snake Plummer that
No
played for the
kidding.
Cardinals? I mean,
Yeah.
everyone walked in. He thought he was he was a Ganesh guru, or he couldn't get on. He didn't have his ID on. I mean, I guess was it Ian Rappaport or one of the guys came over and said, "That's Jake Plummer. He played in the NFL for 10, 11 years. He's a real hippie right now, man. Talk about a great. I mean, guy's in his early 50s. Looks great. All right, check this out. The kids today spend too much time on devices. It's a kid in front of a TV set. Me in 1987 spending 3 days trying to make this jump. It's playing like Atari on a TV set with the remote. Yep. Yeah. I'm going to ask you guys a question, Daily Fish. All right, go. Let's change gears a little bit. All right.
Okay.
I love bananas. Now, I want to ask everyone out there to write in. If a banana looks like that, I have a hard time eating it. I go more. I'm going to ask you, John, how you like bananas. I go more for not having the freckles on them like that. I like it more when it's green to turn to yellow. I like the taste of it. Some people completely discard bananas, I read, when it looks like that, when it actually is very delicious. What about you? What kind of banana do you like to eat?
I agree, but I'll actually try to cook with it. So if you make some banana muffins and stuff like that, I'm okay with it. I put them in smoothies. You know, if I do a protein smoothie, I'll probably do one that's a little bit more ripe than the other ones. But I like them both ways. I'm a big fan of bananas, and they're good for you. And they got potassium and stuff like that on there, so it's great for you. Absolutely.
Tell people this. My wife does this. When it gets like that, it gets a little darker. Great for banana bread. Banana bread's one of my favorite things. It's fantastic.
Yeah, so, me too.
That's what you do. Football season ends, you start thinking about what to do bananas because you go bananas.
All right, and that is the Daily Fish Memes. Hey, folks, thanks for joining us. We talk sports, entertainment, politics, everything in between, just like you do. No woke, no extreme, no social justice cops here. Hey, if you got a problem with us, send us comments and questions to dailyfish1@gmail.com. All right, now it's time for Schmuck, Swag, and Drink. Okay, let's start off with our Schmuck of the Week. Who's been schmucky this week, Fish?
Okay, I saw this one. First, I'm going to show you the brand. It's fantastic. That is Pappy Van Winkle's. That's one of the best bourbons on the planet. They're not schmucky, but check this out. Top officials with the Oregon Liquor and Cannabis Commission, the OLCC, have been implicated in a criminal probe that is examining allegations they violated ethics rules, John, by using their positions with the state's alcohol regulatory agency to divert rare, highly coveted bourbons away from public consumption for their own public use and personal use. Real quick, OLCC officials, including the agency's recently ousted executive director, name withheld, allegedly sent rare bottles of bourbon to specific stores where they replaced reservations to buy their sought-after libations and pick it up once off duty without the public having a chance to beat them to it. I don't know if that's a schmucky move. I think it's more of a it's kind of a sly move, but come on. You know, we should all be able to drink Pappy Van Winkle, right?
Absolutely. I mean, if you're a Kentucky native and you can't find that and you're in love with that, yeah, I think you're pissed. I think they would say that's a smucky move. All right. Okay. Let's take a look. Let's see who's got the swag. Who are we celebrating this week, Fish?
You know, I'll leave it out there because I always think we at Daily Fish find a swag that always outdoes the one we have from the week before. And I made fun of these people. I showed their balloon, but this is Kourtney Kardashian. All right. Gorgeous. Whole family's gorgeous. I don't care what you think about their butts. They're beautiful. Mm-hmm. Check what she did. Get ready, John, because this affects you.
Okay.
Kourtney Kardashian has developed a product, and she posted on Instagram earlier this week that shows CGI pussycats walking around her circles as she eats one of the gummies. She's developed a gummy for your vagina. And it's called the Vajay gummies. Quote, your cat emoji is going to love this, the caption reads. Meet Lemmy Pure, our new vaginal healthy gummy. The post continued, quote, vaginal health is such an important part of a woman's overall well-being and not talked about enough. This is why we are so excited to launch this. Give your vagina the sweet treat it deserves and turn it into a sweet treat. You know what they say, you are what you eat. She developed a gummy for the vagina. I mean, the Kardashians they are just great. I have nothing to say but yeah, baby. Super Bowl is over. It's 206 days. Let's get some puts gummies in a whole new perspective.
Beautiful. I love it. All right. We got a toast to that, Fish. After all, we are two guys and we love gummies. So our drink of the week. So what is our drink of the week, Fish?
I'm doing Peroni. I went to a beer, Italian beer. One of my favorite beers. They had Peroni's an Italian beer. Okay. And it's green bottle, not Heineken, not Beck's. We served it at Chuck's Tavern. I figured, you know what? Since baseball's starting up, pitchers and catchers report on the 19th, and the first preseason game is the Red Sox. No, the White Sox and the Rangers are on the 25th. You didn't know what I knew that, did you, Daly? All right.
Good.
So what goes good with apple pie, vagina gummies, and baseball? Beer.
Peroni's.
Peroni's.
Now, if you drink this, do you get Peroni's disease?
Yeah, great. Boy, I'll tell you what, man. Yeah. Sorry, folks. That's what happens when he travels. He must have had a nice dump on the plane. No.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I texted you when I did. I always do that when I'm on a plane. I text you.
Unbelievable.
So
Boy.
I let that. Hey, folks, the Daily Fish Drink of the Week is sponsored by Shucks Tavern in Vegas. Great seafood and drinks in 2 locations. Head to the Shucks Tavern on North Durango. That's on the northwest side of town. Fish is there overnight. Say Daily Fish Podcast. You get a free drink. Do it the next day, a free appetizer. That's Shucks Tavern. Check out Shucks Tavern on Facebook. Again, folks, this is Daily Fish. We are on Facebook at daily.fish.5. You can subscribe there. Also subscribe to us on YouTube. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, Stitcher, and Amazon. Watch us on Facebook at Myrtle Beach Golf Channel, Myrtle Beach Grand Strand Life. Check out Daily Fish on YouTube and Wingding TV, as well as Hey Vegas TV. You can check out our posts and news that we post on Daily Fish on Facebook and Twitter. Just look for Daily Fish on Facebook and Twitter. And all your betting news is going to be coming on Saturdays with the Daily Fish Hardlines with John Hardison from the Cost of Winning podcast. All right, Fish, let's get into a little bit what's going on, news-wise. Have you seen what's – I know you have, because I think we even talked about this. The earthquake in Turkey. Right now, there are 31,000 people that were killed after that. Now, it's like 7 days later, they're still finding survivors, which is amazing. People are hanging on. It is considered one of the worst earthquakes of all time. We just seem to be getting worse and worse things happening all the time. Are you seeing that? You thinking the same thing?
Yeah, I am. It's weird. I'm not a big, fatalist like you are, but it just seems like, when I see things like this, there was on the North Pole, there was a polar ice cap that broke off, which is the size of Rhode Island.
Yeah.
I don't know why that happens. And then what really got me going, and I go both ways on global warming, and I think sometimes we always tend to overthink and overreact. But living in Las Vegas, there's been a big drop off in Lake Mead to the point where they think they'll never get it to the point there it was 15 years ago. Have you heard about what's going on, John, in the Great Salt Lake? That it just seems to be diminishing. And there's so many, if that happens, that's an ecological hazard. They said there's so many. I guess the way the lake is formatted, the way it's not designed. It's a natural lake, but it's not. It's all salt, like the salt in the sea. I guess it's a disease. If the thing was to diminish completely, there'd be diseases unleashed that could affect 2.5 million people. Do I believe it? I don't know, but you have to be concerned that all these events are happening right now. I don't believe in a new ice age, but maybe there's little things that happen that are close to it.
Yeah, I think, and when you think about it, we talk about Salt Lake and then you talk about Vegas. People are moving there. The populations are getting bigger, so they need to bring water in there. And my thing is, and I agree with you. Sometimes I think we do overreact, but I don't think we overthink it. And we've been talking about climate change and these problems for 20, 25 years. We're talking about it. I can remember when I was there, they were actually talking about desalination plants on the coast in California that would either put water to the Californians and we would get all the water that California has now in Vegas, Utah, Arizona. And they haven't done it. They haven't done it yet. And desalination actually works. So I'm thinking that they haven't reacted quickly enough. On the other hand, you and I talked about electric cars and all of a sudden they're like, everything's got to be electric. Not yet. Slowly. Do it slowly. Make it happen. And that's what we should have done with the water situation. So unfortunately, as human beings, or especially our lawmakers, they're really What did you do? Did you fall?
I dropped my thing. I dropped everything.
You dropped your thing?
I
Oh
dropped
my God.
thing. Oh, look at that. Hey, look who's here.
Yeah, how did Tom
I'm
Brady
ready to
get
show up
into
on the show. So go ahead.
That's what he's going to look like. So, yeah, so absolutely that's it. Now, folks, I got to tell you, when Fish and I sketch out the show, there's certain things he doesn't tell me. He just says there's something going on, and he mentioned something about embarrassing moments. So I have no idea what you're talking about. What are your embarrassing moments?
I have a thing with my wife saying I love you, which means I love you, but it means there's something wrong with the bodily function. Saturday night, I'm working at the bar. Now, the bar is a horseshoe shape at Shucks, and I come up from behind the bar, and I give a customer a hug and his wife. And it's in the corner of the bar that's closest to the restroom, which is about maybe a 10-yard walk to the restroom. I go to the restroom. I look in the mirror. I got a booger in my nose. And your ego tells you that booger wasn't there when you were talking to the couple and giving the wife a hug, because your ego tells you it just developed. There's got to be some sort of etiquette that a person can say or do this, because that's happened to me. It's happened to all of us. You know, if you ever want to get in a situation with a woman where you're having a bad conversation with her, she's a customer and she's being a biatch, tell her she has a booger in her nose and she'll run to the bathroom like Jesse Owens did in the 36 Olympics. All right. I mean, there's got to be something. My wife does it. She'll say this, or you have a crumb on you. You know, you're at the restaurant with another couple or your friends. You got a crumb hanging on the side of your thing. You got earwax, snot, eye snot, all that shit. The booger thing drives me crazy because it's happened to me. Okay. It happens to everyone. We don't talk about it. Talk about it on Daily Fish because we're enlightening you the stuff that you go through. All right. After a while, you're sitting there. I mean, I've been in a conversation before and a fart goes loose. Right. And I mean, and you try to hide that, but that is sitting there, and my ego tells me that by the time I walk from them to that bathroom, which is probably 15 seconds, and the look of terror on your face, you know, is like, oh my God, please tell me that wasn't there when I was talking to them. You got an idea?
I got an even better one. So the other day, it was about a week or so ago, I'm at the Chamber of Commerce meeting, Brunswick County Chamber of Commerce. It's like a morning breakfast, and everybody gets up and does 30 seconds of what they're doing and all that. So I kind of talked about Daily Fish and the different stuff that I'm doing. And, you know, if you want to be a part of it, let us know. And so I end up then afterwards talking to my friend Brent, and Brent's just a great friend. He's a videographer, and he comes over to me and we're talking. He goes, John, your fly is down. So the whole time while I got up and spoke to this, my fly is down, and I'm going like, you gotta be kidding me. Oh my God. So that's another one, you know, booger in the nose, fly down, or how about, you know, toilet paper hanging out of your butt after you've been to the bathroom.
The fly down is something, because, you know, I'm looking down and, you know, it's like, and with you have nothing to worry about. That thing's so inverted because of you're Irish. Oh, sorry, woke culture. Talk about drinking. It's more that because when you look at someone, you're focused on the face. You know, it's a great line in Shawshank Redemption when Tim Robbins says, "I stole the warden's shoes." And how many times are you really looking at someone's shoes when you're talking to them? You don't. You know, I guarantee you're at Banyan Hill. You know, look at the guy's shoes. I don't look at people's shoes when I talk to them, but you talk to someone's face and you see a booger. All right. And it's one of those ones that flutters back and forth. You breathe in, it goes out. You breathe in, you know. And I was just devastated, you know. I mean, that's the vibe, that's the vainness in me. And it's happened to me before. There has to be I wish someone would come and give us some etiquette advice here on Daily Fish and what the proper vernacular is. So you say, my wife will say, I love you. And then she'll go, and I'll know. It's like a baseball sign, you know.
I like it. I like it.
Punt, booger in your nose.
So the term I love you is the indicator, and this is
yeah, it's like you watch baseball, guys on third base.
Yeah, you got to have the indicator first, and then the next sign after it is the actual sign of what you're going to do. So that's good. I like it. Vicky should do it. She should be a third base coach. Perfect. All right, Fish. One other thing. Do we spend too much time on the computer?
You know, I try. I'm on my phone a lot. You know, I do the show now on my phone because first of all, my computer, bought a new computer, redid my whole room, and it still freezes when we do the show, which people liked. They didn't get a chance to listen to less than me. But I pose that to our audience again. I mean, is this just a sign of the times that we're on our devices and we're on our computers, and it is a wealth of information for us, and it's great. I mean, I go on my computer because I have a big screen to watch YouTube a lot and watch videos. And I'll tell you one thing, and I bring this up. I went to a concert called the Plimsouls. The Plimsouls did believe it or not, irony, they did the soundtrack to the movie Valley Girl, which Heidi Holliker was in. But they were a great band in 1983, LA band. And I went to the concert, and it was in Pasadena Playhouse, 1983. And I'm watching the video, right? And I could see the back of my head.
Wow.
What went through my body was, wait a minute, someone had a video for me from 1983, And thank God they didn't have the back room at Mom's Saloon back then. All right, I'd be in jail somewhere. But the bottom line is, I do that. I pose it to you. I mean, you're on your computer a lot. You're always doing stuff. We're doing podcasts and we're looking for information. I want to know how dangerous that is, and because are we developing the youth in America that they're stuck to that and not outside? When you and I were young, we didn't have it, so we're outside playing ball and playing games and being creative. Cranston talked about us on our interview 5 weeks ago, whatever we had him. He had to be creative. Are we developing a lot of kids? Are we nurturing kids nowadays that are going to be stuck with their heads in a device and not really doing the physical part of their body except for masturbating? I don't know.
Well, what I would say on top of that is sometimes they have their heads too much in their phone, so they're not developing their personality. They're not developing personal relationships. Here's one of the interesting things I found, because I'm more on my phone and my iPad now. And one of the things I've noticed, because I'll be in bed, waking up early, and I'll have the phone like this. So I'm holding it like this to do it. What I found is I'm getting inflammation in my left elbow and my left shoulder because I'm holding it like this all the time. And I've actually had to add some treatment done on it. And at first I thought, oh man, I got a torn rotator cuff. How could I have a torn rotator cuff in my left shoulder and I'm right-handed? So there are things like that are happening. But at the same time too, here's the flip side of it, is that, you and I aren't sitting watching 30-minute newscast anymore. I'm literally, and I can literally get all the news I want 4 or 5 minutes just on the phone because I've got subscriptions to the things I want. I can do my speed reading. I'm in and my out. I post, and I got enough of it. So there's the yin and the yang, but I do think you're right. And I think it's bad for kids that are on it too much. And I actually see adults out. There's a table of adults and all of them are into their phones. It's like, you guys are out. You should be talking to each other. So yeah, I think there's a yin and the yang with that as well.
Well, you talked earlier about I could help your yin and yang, especially your yang. You talked about your fly being open. You have inflammation on your elbow. Why don't you put your phone in your zipper like that? Maybe the inflammation will make your penis harder, this and that, and that'll help your yang. That'd be a nice little. You put it there, look down, it'd be great. You look down at your phone that's in your unzipped fly. No one can see the booger in your nose. See where we're going with this?
Beautiful. I love it.
Yeah.
Super. All right. Before we head out, let's talk about the defense budget just a little bit. A lot of people are saying we're cutting our defense budget too much. I think so, but go ahead. Give me your take.
Not that. I don't want to bore. We're on such a great trend here of making people laugh. I looked at that to segue into this. Back in 1985, for our younger viewers, in the Mediterranean Sea, about 862 miles out of Libya. I'm sorry. President Reagan sent a cruise missile from one of our battlecrafts there and hit Muammar Gaddafi's house, and unfortunately killed his daughter. My question to you, simply that we're maybe decreasing our defense budget, because I always thought from them we could do that in 1985, John. And we hear about Area 51 here in Nevada. And if you walk on that site, you get shot on sight. What weapons do we have that we don't know about? Because you're talking about 1885 is 40 years ago. What weapons do we have now that we don't need grounds? We don't need troops on the ground, and we don't need, I mean, by the way, I'll tell you, it's really nice for the halftime show. Heard that Rihanna used a lot of the shot down Chinese balloons for the dancers' outfits. So, but I'm saying, what that concerns me is what kind of weapons do you think we have right now that are so Star Trek-ish that in the near future, I say 10 to 15 years, the ground troops are going to be obsolete. You think that's possible?
Ground troops, pilots, because we'll be having drones.
Right.
And what's really big now, and this is why a lot of people are kind of complaining about this, or not all of them, but some of them. But the microchip industry and the fact that we are going to become more actively involved in it, that's what's going to create the industry, the technology, and the stuff that we'll need to protect ourselves, but also to keep our country going and to keep the economy of not China and not Russia, but our allies going. So that's where you're going to start seeing some different things. I mean, they're talking about, they think by 2027, we're going to have flying cars, that they're going to be ubiquitous in the United States. Think about that. Ubiquitous in the United States in 2027. I mean, that's 4 years away. And they say it's happening. The technology is there.
Wait. How do you get a DUI? We get a DD. You got a cop pulls you over. You're drunk, like flying high. That's great. You know.
But they're going to charge your artificial intelligence.
Doesn't matter. You'd be looking down at your phone and you're flying while you're flying high. Oh Lord. Yeah. I know technology, and you're big on it. And folks at Daily Fish, John is just extremely intelligent on artificial intelligence and stuff technological wise. He's written books on it. He knows a lot. So I garner to him for that kind of stuff. And there is great stuff coming out. It'd be great. Here's the thing. It doesn't matter if you don't have troops on the ground. The stuff that they're developing right now and already have developed, we don't know about. You remember back in 1976, President Carter was excited about the neutron bomb. He does a press conference and goes, there's a bomb that could kill all the people, but the buildings still stand.
Yeah.
And my dad, rest in peace, goes, what a fucking idiot. Let's just kill the people. But when the aliens land, hey, they got the building. Hey, guess what? The Sears Tower is still up. Let's even get electricity and go to the top floor and eat in the restaurant. I mean, come on, And
it's the construction business. I mean, these guys need to work.
So I mean, every single TV show. By the way, I'm binge watching something right now called The Last of Us, which is based on a video game. It's phenomenal. It's on HBO, and it's it's an apocalyptic. It's about a fungus that takes over humanity, and obviously I don't want to give anything away because if I say too much, I can mess it up for someone. But are we going to see a show right now about? Could you imagine taking over a country? Maybe there are shows. Imagine taking over a superpower just by having the threat of something to use that they actually acquiesce to you. Sort of what's happening in Ukraine right now. The Russians are, and I want your thought on this real quick. The Russians are threatening with nuclear bombs, which is why we haven't gone a no-fly zone. Because if things go nuclear, then we're all left.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's exactly what's happening. It's a great correlation with that series, and I've heard so many good things about that series. So, I mean, there's a lot of tension behind the scenes, and granted, I know you think I'm a Debbie Downer and I'm a doomsdayist, but there's stuff out there that could be very, very scary that could affect us in a number of different ways. Hey, I just want to tell you about one of the binge watchings I'm doing. I not really binge watching. I watched the Elvis movie. Oh my God, what a performance! Beautifully shot, brilliant. Tom Hanks was great. Oh my God, playing Colonel Parker, and I thought it was really interesting. Have you seen it yet, Fish?
Yeah, Austin Butler, of course. Austin Butler played Elvis, and I remember him. He played Tex Winter in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, just a small role, and he has that great scene with Brad Pitt. But what made it brilliant is he did his own singing. That's why when he was so, it was, and you just find out what a great person Elvis was. But it wasn't so much that, it was more about Colonel Parker. I knew, if you knew the story about Elvis, everyone, Colonel Parker was a scumbag. He was a fugitive, basically. He couldn't go back to Europe. Elvis couldn't go to Germany, and he couldn't go to Europe, and he couldn't go to Japan, which would have made him many, many more millions, because Colonel Parker was afraid that he gets snatched up and sent back to Germany. And it's true. I don't want to give the ending, but the ending for Colonel Parker is sadder than it was for Elvis, and Elvis died.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's interesting too is you and I were in Vegas at the time. He died in Vegas.
He died
And so,
penniless. I'll just say he died penniless.
yeah,
He used to walk around
yeah,
asking for markers all the time. And come on,
yeah,
man, it's a sad story. But Hanks is great in everything. I mean, God, if you go through the library of Tom Hanks from Philadelphia to me, I remember. Do you remember Tom Hanks in a movie called Bachelor Party in 1984? Where it was
sure.
just a crazy movie.
Yep.
Castaway had to be the one that affected me the most because it was more of a person that got to really get his soul back,
Yeah.
and just grew up through humanity and having to live off the land. It was just, if you didn't see Castaway, that's your Tom Hanks homework.
Yeah. And go say hello to Wilson at the same time too. All right, we are Daily Fish coming to you from Vegas and Myrtle Beach. We hit sports, entertainment, politics, and everything in between. We're on Facebook at daily.fish.5. Watch us also on Facebook at Myrtle Beach Golf Channel, Myrtle Beach Grand Strand Life. Check us out on Daily Fish on YouTube and also Wingding TV. We're also on Hey Vegas TV. Go to heyvegastv.com. Listen to us on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, Stitcher, and Amazon. Also, all those channels, you can hear our interviews coming up as well as our special guests throughout the week. And remember, we got the Hardline coming up on Saturdays now, so we get you all your bets as well. You can write to us at dailyfish1@gmail.com. Okay, before we sign off here, Fish, what do you got for closing ideas?
Well, I would like to develop a penis gummy. Go well
It's
in
called
San Francisco.
Viagra.
It would go, yeah, you would know. That's why your fly's open. You want to see if it's working. But anyways, look, right now, like I said, I'm in the 12-step program for football junkies, and I'll get out of it. I'll watch Tiger this week in golf. I'm binge watching more. Your Honor with Cranston, second season, brilliant. But I'm now a big fan of this guy. I was a big Tarantino guy, still am. But we have to talk about a writer real quick called Taylor Sheridan, John, who developed Mayor of Kingstown. Okay. Tulsa King with Stallone. That's so great. He did Yellowstone. This is his library. Okay. And then the two prequels, 1883, and I'm watching 1923 right now with Harrison Ford. Did the movies Hell or High Water, which I love, with Chris Pine and Ben Foster. Sicario, phenomenal. And then Wind River with Jeremy Renner. So his diversity in writing is so terrific. The guy sat there and did most of his writing. He's a soap opera actor. He was either I do better research, Bold and the Beautiful or Young and the Restless, and he would sit in his dressing room and write. And now, if you watch his creativity, it goes everywhere from comedy to the Old West to narcotics. It's Mayor of Kingstown. Renner's obviously a guy who's worked into Mayor of Kingstown is, you know what that's about?
Yes. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. I mean, there's 10 prisons, and he's a mayor of the town. Between the 10 prisons, he's corrupt. So just look into Taylor Sheridan. Go on YouTube, watch This Week in Pro Football from 1979. I'll be with you. No, I'm not doing much. I'm trying to stay healthy like the rest of us. Love our Daily Fish audience. Thank you, Pullman. Yeah. Pullman's chiming in right now. Great guy, great bartender. I think he works at the Blue Ox here in Las Vegas. He's a legend in this town. But if we can make a guy like him, because he's on Viagra, if we can make a guy like him, excited and stimulate him in other ways. But right now, I'm thinking about really investing in the gummy business.
Yeah, I hear you. I think it would help you in many ways.
Oh, Blue Dogs. I'm sorry. Blue Dogs. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're Blue Dogs, and John's got blue balls. All right, buddy. I'm good.
All right. All good. Fish, we'll be back. Hopefully, we're going to be back this coming Saturday with the Hardline. So we'll do some bets coming up since we got, baseball's right around the corner. We've got Tiger playing in the tournament in the LA Open. So a lot of good things happening, and Fish will survive it. So that's the good part about it.
Well, you said baseball and Tiger, but I'll ask you one last thing. We can get us out of here. Is there talk about the main thing that's coming up right now is we're getting close to the conference tournaments in college basketball. Is there one team, don't bring up Providence, that's your alma mater, Texas is playing well. Is there one team that you see right now that can make a run and really surprise someone and go all the way to the Final Four?
There's so many teams that are in that position. Today, for the first time, Alabama is number one in the country in college basketball.
Yeah,
In
I was going to
college
say that was my, yeah, you stole my line. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
I think they could be. I tell you, one of the teams I really like though is Tennessee, and I think Tennessee's got a really good team. Southeast Conference is just loaded. The ACC, they're loaded too, but it ain't Duke and North Carolina. I mean, it's Miami, NC State. So there's a lot of good teams that are coming up and changing, and I think this, the whole thing with the portal is great. The Big East, and again, I know you don't want me to talk about Providence, but I mean the Big East is, Providence is like third or fourth in the conference, and they got some good teams there. They're going to go and make some runs. So I'm real excited. The good thing about football being over is I can really concentrate, and you can get ready for March Madness, which to me is just a great time. So we'll definitely be looking at that.
And I'll tell you what, by Monday I'll do some research. I'm going to have you guys chime in at Daily Fish, and I'm going to pick a team that's over under 62 games in baseball, and I'll go over and I'll put my money on the line, little that I have, and we'll go through that. Right, that was fun with Baltimore, and a lot of you were rooting against me, but we had Steve Sear on, one of the big casino hosts, and he's texting me off the camera. Oh, you got no shot. You got no shot. Well, guess what? You never know. So I'll go look at the futures on baseball. I'll get with Hardline. He's probably, I don't know where he is right now, man. He's probably he's that guy he's probably on Skid Row somewhere in Phoenix going, I had Philly in the over.
He did have the over. He did have the over.
I love it. He's so great. He's like, he takes it so personal. I love it. That he's a passionate guy. He's right on a ton of his picks, but you know what? It's human. It's just these guys aren't. I don't think Philadelphia got in the huddle and said, we can't stand that idiot. He looks like Cedric the Entertainer, and a combination of Cedric the Entertainer and CeeLo. And by the way, the halftime show, we'll get out on that one. If you're afraid of heights, did you watch a halftime show?
Oh my God!
That had to be what, 50? That'd be 100 feet above the goddamn field.
Yeah, and she was pregnant.
Did not know that. I saw it. I could tell you.
Yeah.
She is so drop dead gorgeous and talented. I mean, it's not fair to be that drop dead beautiful. It's a person and gorgeous. And I guess her husband's name is ASAP Rocky.
Yeah.
What does that mean? There's Rocky Marciano, Rocky Balboa, and now ASAP Rocky, Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Yeah. Hey, lucky
Pullman.
man.
Hey, Pullman, if you're watching, who's ASAP Rocky? What has he done? I know he's a rapper, but
I think he's a rapper. Wow. Yeah.
Boy, he's lucky. Is that the father of her child?
Yep. And they've got an 8-month-old, and she's pregnant again. So the fact that she was up that high, being pregnant, that was kind of tough. It was still a great performance.
She's talented.
Hey, I forgot one thing when we were talking about the commercials. The Rakuten commercial with Alicia Silverstone. Oh my God. Doesn't she still look hot? That was great. I was like, oh my God.
Oh, what because I'm a sexual deviant. What was that one commercial? Premature electrification. What was it called?
Oh, yeah, that was really good too. Oh, I forgot about that.
Oh, that was great. Yeah. So there was a lot of great commercials. And they went to the crowd. Jay-Z's there. We talked about him last week. Into the weight. They showed the people in the crowd, and they never show people in the booth. They showed the booth, and it's Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie and Bradley Cooper going crazy when they got the 2-point conversion. Show the booth when they lose. I like that kind of drama.
Yeah, you're right.
But what other celebrities? Hey, look, the other celebrities are there, but it was good to see Cranston and Aaron Paul hanging out. Rich Eisen. God, I'd like to be Bryan Cranston for 3 minutes. I mean, he's everywhere. Oh.
Well, he should thank us because he wouldn't have gotten all those interviews if he hadn't been on Daily Fish first.
Sure. Yeah.
You hear that, Cranston?
Good job, Cranston. Good job, Paul. I loved it. I'm look, 206 days. We'll get through it. And before you know it, the way you get older, time flies so fast. Seriously, it does. I remember doing our first show April 21st of 2021, and we're making as much money doing it as we did back then.
I know.
But it's fun.
By the way, folks, if you want to be part of the show, let us know. Write to us at dailyfish1@gmail.com. Would love to have you be a part of it so you can make a lot too.
Yeah. Hey, and shout out to Jesse Hearns. Jesse Hearns is going to I'll get him on. He just, we talked about him on Saturday. If you didn't watch our Hardline show, one of our alumni, Tommy Hitman Hearn's brother, just signed a 5-year, $50 million contract for someone to promote all his spices, because he's just tremendous barbecue sauces and spices, and just assaulted you. I met this guy when I managed a place called the Montana Meat Company. Comes in one night about 11 o'clock, and we sat there at 4 a.m. talking. I just started talking to the guy, and we talked about life and sports and became friends ever since. And now he's got a lot of money. Maybe he'll give us some.
We'll make him happy.
All right, buddy.
Absolutely. All right, pal. Talk to you.